Have you ever imagined witnessing an event so impossible that it shatters every rule you thought governed the world? An event that makes you question the very fabric of reality. Picture this. You're standing beside a quiet river, the sunlight sparkling on the surface. Suddenly, a piece of solid heavy iron rises from the murky bottom and floats like a feather. Or imagine watching poisonous, undrinkable water become crystal clear and pure in a single moment. What about seeing a tiny jar of oil multiply endlessly, filling every container in a room until there are no more to be found? These aren't just legends or metaphors. They are real, recorded moments in the life of the prophet Elisha, man whose journey was marked by the supernatural, in ways that challenge our modern understanding of what's possible. These stories aren't just about ancient history. They're about the intersection of the divine and the everyday, the miraculous and the mundane. Today, we're going to step back in time and explore a few of these incredible events. We'll start with a story that seems small but has profound implications. A story about a lost axe head. Our journey begins on a warm, ordinary day near the Jordan River. A community of young prophets is hard at work. Their group has been growing, and their living quarters have become too cramped. So, they decide to build a larger home. The air is filled with energy and purpose, the rhythmic thud of axes striking wood, the rustle of falling leaves, and the lively chatter of young men working together. It's a scene of community, growth, and hope. But amidst all this activity, one single swing of an axe is about to change everything. A young man raises his tool high, ready to bring it down with all his strength. He swings, and in that split second, disaster strikes. The wooden handle cracks. The heavy, iron axe head separates, flying through the air. It glitters once in the sun before plunging into the river with a deep, final splash. Silence. The young man freezes, his face pale with shock. His heart sinks even faster than the iron because this axe was not his own, it was borrowed. And in that time, borrowing an iron tool was like borrowing a small fortune. Iron was rare, expensive, and meticulously crafted by hand. Losing it meant facing a debt that could take years, maybe even a lifetime to repay. It was a crushing, humiliating burden. In a voice filled with despair, he cries out to his mentor, Elisha, "Oh no, my master. It was borrowed. The joy of the day is gone, replaced by panic and shame." Now, how would you or I react? We might offer words of comfort, maybe suggest diving into the river to search for it, or even offer to help pay off the debt. But Elisha's response is different. He walks toward the distressed young man with a sense of calm and complete certainty. There's no frustration, no lecture, no panic. He simply asks a practical question. Where did it fall? The young man, still shaken, points to the exact spot where the axe head disappeared beneath the surface. Elisha then does something strange. He picks up a small branch from the ground, breaks it, and with a simple gesture, tosses it into the water right at that spot. The river ripples, and then something dark begins to rise from the depths. It's the iron axe head. Solid, heavy, impossible. But it isn't just bobbing on the surface like a piece of wood. It's floating, hovering, almost suspended, as if the laws of gravity have been temporarily rewritten just for this moment, in this one spot. It defies all logic. The young prophet stares, his eyes wide with disbelief. Then Elisha speaks again, his voice steady and calm. "Pick it up." The young man steps forward, trembling, and reaches into the water. He lifts the iron. It's cold, it's solid, it's undeniably real. A miracle, witnessed by a crowd of his peers. The impossible has just happened right before their eyes. This story is incredible, but it was just one of the extraordinary moments that marked Elisha's life. Not long after this, a far more serious crisis arose. A desperate plea came from the city of Jericho. On the surface, Jericho was a beautiful place. Palm trees swayed in the warm breeze, and sunlight gleamed on its ancient walls. But beneath this picturesque scene, a deadly secret festered. The city's water source was poisoned. This wasn't just a minor inconvenience, it was a citywide catastrophe. People were falling sick, the land was barren, and crops wouldn't grow. Tragically, pregnant women were suffering miscarriages. The very source of life for the entire city was causing death and decay. Without clean water, Jericho's future was doomed. In their desperation, the leaders of the city approached Elisha. Their voices were filled with fear and hopelessness. "The city isn't a good location," they explained, "but the water is bad, and the land is unproductive." They laid the survival of their entire community at his feet. Elisha's request was simple, almost strangely so. He didn't call for a grand ceremony or a complex ritual. He just said, "Bring me a new bowl and put salt in it." A new bowl, untouched and clean. And common salt, something found in every home. They brought him what he asked for. Elisha then walked to the main spring, the very source of the poisoned water that was cursing the city. He stood before the flowing water, lifted the bowl, and poured the salt directly into the spring. As the salt dissolved and swirled into the current, he spoke with divine authority. "This is what the Lord says. I have healed this water. Never again will it cause death or make the land unproductive." And just like that, it was done. From that very moment, the water of Jericho became pure, life-giving, clean. The sickness subsided, the land began to flourish again. The curse was broken. Life returned to Jericho, all because of a bowl of salt and a declaration of faith. From a floating axe head to a healed city, these stories paint a picture of a world where the laws of nature are not the final authority. They show us that in moments of personal despair and community-wide crisis, something greater can intervene. These aren't just tales of magical feats, they are demonstrations of a power that cares about the small details of our lives like a borrowed tool, as well as the grand challenges we face like the survival of a city. These events challenge us to look beyond what we can see and measure. They invite us to consider the possibility of the impossible. What do you think? Are these just ancient stories, or do they point to a deeper reality that still exists today? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the extraordinary life of Elisha. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more explorations into the most incredible stories ever told. We're just scratching the surface. See you in the next one. When we leave the river, the jars, and the spring behind, what remains is the echo of how ordinary people respond when their world is ruptured. There's a pattern that threads through every action. Desperation meets presence. Fear meets a particular kind of calm, and the result is that the ordinary becomes impossible and the best sense it becomes opened to grace. The people who saw iron float or water clear didn't just walk away amused by a spectacle. They walked away with their lives altered. They received a new economy of possibility. A borrowed tool returned, a city's health restored, a widow's family spared. Consider the young man who had lost his borrowed axe. After the iron was recovered, the work resumed, but the memory of that day settled like sediment in the mind of everyone present. They had witnessed a small victory over loss, an unexpected correction that put things right. For the young prophet, the act wasn't just about retrieval, it was a reconfiguration of reality. It created a world where loss might be reversed by compassion and decisive action. It completely changed his expectations of what leadership could do. In Jericho, the shift was even more profound. Water is the backbone of any city. It feeds, it cleans, it sustains. When the spring turned poisonous, the very fabric of social life had begun to fray. After the healing, the city didn't just taste water again, it tasted the possibility of renewal. Farmers who had watched their fields die began to plant again. Mothers who had feared for their children's lives saw them recover. The systems of commerce and care that had withered were suddenly nurtured back to life. So the miraculous cleaning of the water wasn't just about purity, it was the recovery of an entire civic order. And then there's the widow's story. It operates on an intimate scale but has massive implications. Debt and losing your children to servitude are not abstract concepts. Their effects reverberate through generations. When that tiny jar of oil turned into an abundance that paid off all her debts, it also interrupted a vicious cycle of dispossession. The woman's children weren't just saved from immediate servitude, they were released into a future with options. That single shift alters the entire trajectory of families, the options available to children, and the very texture of community memory. Small economies, when reclaimed, changed destinies. When the dead man rose upon touching a prophet's bones, the astonishment was existential. Death is the ultimate boundary, the thing that organizes all of life's urgency and priorities. To see it crossed in such a raw, unexpected way, or through some magic spell or ancient formula, but through mere contact with remains is to experience a complete rupture in your metaphysical map. This act raises questions we're still asking today. What is the nature of life? Where does power truly dwell? What relationship can the ordinary have with the extraordinary? But let's not reduce these events to mere puzzles we need to solve. They function better as invitations. They invite us to see the world with a different set of expectations, to notice that sometimes the ordinary is porous, and that mercy often operates in the smallest of acts. The twig that floats an iron axe head, the handful of salt that cleanses a city, the drop of oil that refuses to end, the touch that returns a person's breath. These are all small vessels containing a much larger logic, and that logic isn't about magic for spectacle's sake. It's about restorative action that reorders the relationships between people, resources, and hope itself. If you felt those moments as I described them, if the images settled in your mind and sparked a sense of curiosity, there is so much more to explore, far more. This is not the end of these surprising narratives or the last of the hidden episodes. There are other stories where the very margins of possibility are tested, where hunger converts to abundance in the most unexpected places, and where entire communities encounter realities that completely upend their deepest fears. If these stories moved you or sparked your imagination, please like this video to show your support and help the channel reach more people. Subscribe so you won't miss the next episode, where we'll dive into more unbelievable, cinematic stories drawn from these ancient texts. And comment part 5 down below if you want me to keep digging into the strangest, most powerful miracles and hidden accounts, the ones that make you question everything you thought you knew about history and possibility. Your engagement truly matters. It shapes what I research next, how deep the next video will go, and the way these stories are shared with the world. Thank you for watching.